On 25 November 2019, I uploaded my first video to YouTube, and 169 videos later, I can honestly say that YouTube has absolutely changed my life. Now, obviously, there are many YouTubers that are out there that are way bigger than me, like Mr. Beast, Iman Ghazi, Ali Abdal. You know, these guys, when they post a video within the first 1 hour, they can get more views than I have achieved in 4 years of doing YouTube. I might not have reached their levels yet, but there are many things that YouTube has done for me, including changing my finances, changing my relationships, changing the environment that I live and work in. And because of those things, I can honestly say that if you are thinking about going into YouTube, it's 100% worth it. I'm doing this video because maybe you're on the fence about whether you should start a YouTube channel or not. Or maybe you are someone who has been doing YouTube for a while, but you've lost motivation, you've lost your passion, and you're really trying to figure out, is YouTube worth it in the long run? I can tell you from my own personal experience that it's 100% worth it. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to share my story, and hopefully you can find some direction and motivation from it. And to start from the beginning, most people assume that Marshall is just good at talking to the camera because he's just a naturally confident person. Maybe he was just born behind the camera. But the truth is, like a couple of years ago, I really didn't have much of a life. The only life that I knew was just going to school and going to church, because my dad was very strict. And the only things that he allowed me to do that were not school was just maybe going to church or just maybe going for a walk around the neighborhood. And because I was so heavily involved in church, I got involved in youth ministry. I started preaching at youth. I became a youth leader and later on even became a youth pastor. So I'm actually used to speaking on stages, preaching at church, or just speaking in front of a lot of people. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm now doing my university, second year. I'm trying to get a degree in marketing. And then my parents told me that they could no longer afford to pay for my university tuition, which meant that I had to look for a job to try and help myself to get through university. Now, the whole economy was going through a downturn at that time, so the jobs I was finding, the jobs that were not helping me at all. So eventually I had to try and figure out, okay, how can I start my own business or side hustle, something that can help me to raise money for my university. And now, because we are this internet generation, I just looked to YouTube. And luckily for me, I found that there are lots of entrepreneurs who are actually making a lot of money, and they're making it online. People like Grant Cardone, Steve Bartlett, Ty Lopez, and many other people. But in particular, there's this one guy who was called Liam James that, like, when I watched his videos, I kind of related to them, because he was talking about going on his own journey to become a millionaire one day. And so he just wanted to use YouTube as a way to share his journey and just share what the things that he's learning. So that actually also inspired me to say that, okay, I want to figure out how to make money online. How about I use Liam James' approach and create my own YouTube channel and use it as a way to actually just be accountable to myself, and maybe to build an audience and be accountable to people. If I learn something valuable, at least I can also help someone else to learn from the steps that I'm taking. And that led me to creating one of my first few videos where I was actually announcing and saying that I'm on my journey to become a millionaire. And that video is still there on my channel to this day. And what I like about that first video is that you'll notice that I was not so confident, because I had never done YouTube before. Even though I had been talking at church. The other thing that you'll notice is that, like, I was way much skinnier then, because that's the type of person that I used to be. Just this skinny guy who totally had no money, so he didn't even know what nice food tastes like. And then most importantly, you notice the picture quality was terrible. It was so bad. When I look at it, sometimes I'm like, no, I need to take down these videos. But then I always remind myself that no, someone else is starting, and they also need to see that when you're starting, you don't always need the fancy cameras, you don't need the best equipment, the best lighting, the best backgrounds. You just simply need to have something that is of value to people, and you just simply start. And so if I'm to share with you some of the things that I learned on my journey, that's one of the first ones, that you just simply need to start on your journey. I wanted to start YouTube years ago, but it's only been 4 years now. I think I could have started YouTube about 10 years ago, and probably I'll be maybe on 1 million subscribers or something by now. But no, I just kept on postponing it because I kept on giving myself many valid reasons. The reasons why you haven't started are probably valid. But I like one thing that Vusi Temwile once said.
The test is not whether or not you know the reasons for not succeeding. The test is whether or not you're willing to do whatever it takes to get to that next level.
And the more you keep watching my videos leads me to the second thing that I benefited, is that I begin to grow in confidence. The more you talk about your thing, the more you talk about your journey and share information, you gain more confidence because you're starting to relax, and it becomes easier and easier for you to just express yourself. And another thing that you also need to be aware of is, like, when you're starting something for the first time, you usually want to ask for people's opinions about, you think this is a good idea, yes or no? And so as human beings, we tend to ask for permission. But one thing that YouTube will teach you is that you don't need anyone's permission to do anything. If you've got a goal in mind, you simply go for it. Because if you ask people around you, most of them have not done what you're trying to do. So they will only advise you as much as they know. And most people will say, no, it's a bad idea. Maybe because they tried it and then they didn't get any views. And then they will say, no, don't do it. But if you look at people who have already succeeded in YouTube, and if you get the opportunity to ask them for advice, they will all tell you it's one of the best things that they did. But you simply need to give yourself permission just to start. The third thing that I've benefited from doing YouTube is that I've made more money through YouTube than I had ever made in my whole life doing anything else. I actually posted a video sometime last year where I was explaining how I made my first million rands. A million rands is about 55 to 60,000 US dollars. And so I made that money simply because I'm a YouTuber. Now, not all the money came directly from YouTube, as in YouTube paying me through their process called AdSense. But because I had a YouTube channel, I was able to get other opportunities to create money. So the first way that I made money was YouTube paid me. I think in a year, they paid me about 15,000 US dollars. But then I also had companies that were approaching me saying, hey, we like the content that you are sharing. Do you mind talking about our product on your channel? And when I would talk about their product, they would then pay me a fixed amount. Some of these companies, we did maybe like a contract where they were paying me every single month to just talk about their product, which meant that I was getting recurring income, and yet I was just simply doing what I was already doing. It also gave me an opportunity to create my own products, where, for example, I created an ebook, and then I started teaching people how to start what's called drop servicing and helping people to just basically start their own businesses. I've sold hundreds of copies of that ebook. And then I also created courses, and people from all parts of the world would buy my courses. And the nice part about courses is that you just create them once, but different people can keep buying on different days, different times, because they are finding value in what you are selling to them. It also led me to starting my own consultancy business, where I now actually help people to get started with YouTube. And, people would just ask me, okay, can you help me on my YouTube journey? And they would pay me for my advice. Get onto a Zoom call with them. I'd walk them through the steps that they need to take to start YouTube. And that's how I'll make money. And best of all, the thing that I'm very much excited about at the moment, which is something that is also taking a whole lot of time by the side, is that I've also started a software company because of YouTube. I was able to create a software that people want to use. Mainly it's a software for building websites, landing pages, and stuff like that. And so I'm able to create recurring revenue for myself simply because I have got an audience on YouTube, and I can then take my products, either sell them to the audience on YouTube or get access to other audiences because I have got a YouTube audience. Aside from working with a lot of brands, some companies just send me some stuff for free that I can use for myself as long as I get to talk about it on my YouTube channel. Aside from that, one of the best parts about having an audience or building your own YouTube channel is that it gives you access to some amazing people. I remember about 2 years ago, DJ Spoop, he's one of the local entrepreneur celebrities that are there. He reached out to me and is like, I'd love to learn more about what you're doing and maybe we can do an interview. I was interviewed on his channel. I think his channel has got about 200,000 people that follow him in South Africa. But then he's a well-known entrepreneur that's achieved a lot in South Africa. And so he was one of the first few people that reached out to me. And later on, it kind of opened up the gates because more and more people kept on reaching out to me to do interviews, or maybe to even ask me for advice, or just to meet up for drinks. And then we just talk entrepreneurship. So I find myself having meetings with people who who I could only dream of meeting. And that's why you'll notice that like a lot of these other YouTubers out there who have got YouTube channels where, for example, they'll be interviewing millionaires, which is something that I'm also going to be doing in this coming year. A lot of them, their channels blew up and they have grown to crazy levels because they built up an audience first, and then they found people who were doing well in life, but no one was sharing their story or telling their story. So when you have got something like a YouTube channel, it gives you leverage that when you approach these people, they can say yes to you because they have the millions and you have got an audience, you've got a following, and therefore it allows you to have a conversation with these people. Whereas in most cases, if you approach someone who is rich, let me tell you, you're not the first one to ask them for advice or ask them for help. They get thousands of people who ask them every single day. So the first question you need to ask yourself is what makes you different? Why should they spend their time helping you? So when you do have that audience, it makes it easier for them to say yes, because hey, you've got an audience, and yeah, if you're going to put me in front of your audience, I don't mind sharing my knowledge and my wisdom with you and my audience. And let me overemphasize these few benefits or these few reasons that I've just mentioned. They would not have happened to me if I never just started my channel. You've got so many different excuses and reasons as to why maybe you can't start. But listen, they're not valid. As long as you've got a camera and you can just start pressing record, you just need to do it. Of course, now I do have some recording equipment. In fact, I did a YouTube video about the equipment that I actually use. But when I started out simply using my phone, using I think it was a Huawei P8, and it records at 720p. 720p is not a high resolution. I had a problem with that phone, and then the only camera that I had access to was my laptop, which records at 480p. And sometimes I would record using my laptop, and the picture quality was not amazing. But it was about you just starting on your journey. Create content, post it out there. Few people start watching you, people start following you, and then you get these opportunities to make money and then build up your equipment. And also when you're doing YouTube, if you look at my channel, it's mostly focused on the make money online niche, where I'm teaching people how to create income for yourself. There are thousands of people out there who have made millions from YouTube talking about other stuff that has got nothing to do with make money online. As long as you have got something that is entertaining, that is of value, that can help people, people will follow you and people will watch you, as long as you're confident enough to put yourself out there. But if you are interested in, okay, so Marshall, how can I build my own YouTube channel? How can I get started? And what are the best ways that I can actually make money from this? I've got a training where I'm actually showing people 22 ways to create passive income from having a YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you just need to click on this video next, and it's going to walk you through step by step the different ways that you can create income for yourself so that you can benefit from YouTube. From your first video, you don't have to wait until you've got a huge following, but from your first video, you can start making money from YouTube.